let's just go through the best set here. Hey guys, this is JP's LEGO Reviews. Today, I'm going to take you through the top 5 LEGO sets that I've reviewed in 2023, taking you from the small Dodge Charger to the gigantic Land Rover Technic set. And all these sets, by the way, have received a 5-star review except for the TIE Bomber. So, let's break all of these down individually. Here is the Dodge Charger. Now, this set is an awesome LEGO Speed Champion set. Not just because it's 20% larger than other Speed Champion sets, even though it's at the same price, but it's a proper quality Speed Champion set. It looks really good on display, and LEGO have done a really good job with the design of this set. You get all the details from the Fast and the Furious. You get the petrol cap over there, you get the hood scoop, and you get the number plates as well as the exhausts as well. You get all the details you need, and it's an awesome build. And the best part of this LEGO set is the Dominic Toretto minifigure, being the first Fast and Furious minifigure we've ever seen in LEGO form, and it's a pretty decent looking LEGO minifigure as well. But now, let's move on to the Indiana Jones fighter plane set. And the 4 parts that are in this set are really good, because the aircraft, being the main part of the set in my opinion, is a great looking World War II Nazi inspired plane. Now obviously it represents the bad guys in Indiana Jones, and really in real life as well. But you get all the functions you need. You can take off having 3 wheels, one at the back, 2 at the front. You have the propeller, you have interior detail to sit 1 person, you have the exhausts, and you have these flick-fire missiles, which just represent guns that shoot at the car. Talking about the car, we have a olden 1930s style car. Now, there isn't too much detail on it, but it's simply a great looking convertible. You have a suitcase here, as well as a treasure chest holding a gun and an umbrella. You have the great sort of looking spare wheel look, and overall it's shaped well and it looks like a 1930s car. Also, quickly before we move on to the best part of the set, we also have a sign pointing to Berlin, which is a reference to the Indiana Jones 3 movie, and you can see it's in a desert biome, showing that it's actually nowhere near Germany. But now, the minifigures are by far the best part of the set, because we get Indiana Jones Senior, or Indiana Jones's dad, and a Nazi pilot, which are all very well done minifigures, and Indiana Jones in particular looks awesome. But the next set I want to talk about now is the TIE Bomber, where we get 3 main components. The spare area, or the spare flick-fire missiles, which are delivered in a sort of cart sort of vehicle, which actually looks pretty good here. It's a more interesting way of just having them spares by themselves. You get the minifigures with a pretty solid minifigure selection, but it's not really out of the world. You have Darth Vader, an Imperial sort of officer, a TIE Bomber pilot, and a Gonk droid, which are all awesome to see. And the main part of the show, of course, is the TIE Bomber itself. Now, this is a very good looking playset. You have the sort of tile stud shooters over here. You can open up the window to put the TIE Fighter pilot in to pilot the TIE Bomber. And yeah, the pilots, I think, are the exact same. They use the exact same minifigures. Here we have a flick-fire missiles, which if you push down, they deploy. You can also kind of move in and out the flaps of the TIE Bomber itself, and we also see the exhausts, and you can land it, since it has a landing sort of, not a stick, but a landing sort of gear as well. But now, let's move on to the TIE Striker, which can be split into 2 very obvious parts. Now, the ship itself is a really well-designed LEGO ship. Even though it has less pieces than the TIE Bomber, it feels like a far better value because it's a lot larger. You can carry it from the back, and you can sort of swish it around very easily. You can open up the sort of cockpit by pulling this down, where you reveal the area for the TIE Striker pilot to fit in. Then in the back you can open up here as well, and you can also access the seating area for the TIE Striker pilot here as well. But opening up this, you have some detail in the back, which looks great as well. You can also, like what I've done, you can unlet go and then activate the wings if you're either landing or flying away. And you can press the spring-loaded shooters on the side if you want to activate them like this. But now, let's move on to the best part of this set, which is the minifigure selection. And the Scarif Trooper on the left is one of the best minifigures that I own, and arguably, it could be one of the best minifigures LEGO have ever produced. We also have a sort of runway attendant, but for the Star Wars ships, and for the Empire, we have a TIE Striker pilot, and a Rebel Trooper, which is good to see some opposition in this set as well. But now, let's move on to the biggest set by far, which is the Land Rover Defender Technic set. Now, this set really does quite a lot. Firstly, it looks fantastic on display. You have the olive green, which contrasts to the white roof and the black wheels. And LEGO Technic, even though it's a Technic set, and this set is a functions first set, where there's a lot of functions in this set, it has a great look to it. And it's simply a really good looking set. And talking about the functions, the best functions that you can actually see in this LEGO set, I'll actually have to flip it over because it's easier to see, is in the interior. And I'll show that now. So, looking at this door, we can open the door and see quite a few mechanical functions. Firstly, up top, you can see this knob right here. If you twist it, look at the steering wheel, you can actually steer the car through the actual steering wheel itself, which is awesome to see. But the most important thing is you can actually change the gears from neutral to either drive or reverse. You can put this into either low or high range, and you can gear shift going to a lower gear or going to a higher gear. Now, further up front, we have the pistons, which you can see a bit of it now, but unfortunately, I have to drive this like maybe 2 or 3 meters before they start activating, which is quite unfortunate. But also, within here, you have the winch system as well. The winch system is activated by firstly pressing this button down and then spinning it, either letting it go or letting it come back in. Now, you can let it go, but the gears click, showing that it's not actually supposed to do that, and you're supposed to have the gears not lock on itself. Also, in the back of the vehicle, you get to see more detail of the car, and you can do it by just twisting the steering wheel, and you can really see how the interior, or how the main part of this LEGO set works. You can also push down the seats as well if you want to as well. And also, you get a bunch of detail on the exterior. You get a Land Rover Defender sort of bag, you get another sort of bag area, you get 2 sort of pieces to help with off-roading, and you have a ladder. But the best thing about this whole system is you can take it apart. Here is the steering. I'm going to quickly just take the attachments off first for the 2 things on the roof. Then I'll undo these 4 mechanisms here. I'll take out the extra 2 pins, and that's it. That's a completely different view of a Land Rover Defender, and also you can change the mirrors as well. But now let's go on to my final thoughts on this range, and also the suspension too. Now, what are my final thoughts on this range, on the top 5 LEGO sets that I, JP's LEGO Reviews, have reviewed in 2023? Well, firstly, let's just go through the best set here. Well, firstly, I have to get rid of a TIE Bomber, even though I subjectively love it because I did only rate it 4.5 stars. So immediately looking at the rest, the next bit of criteria I'm going to judge this on is what set is the most irreplaceable. And here, it's the Land Rover Defender, and I'll tell you why. LEGO Technic haven't really been on their best stride with properly decent downsized vehicles. The Land Rover Defender and the Porsche 911 RSR were pretty much it. Now, there's also the McLaren F1 car, But I bought that just because it's an F1 car, not so much because it's a great LEGO Technic set. But the Land Rover Defender is a properly solid LEGO Technic set. But they all are pretty great. The Speed Champion set, even though it's good, it is replaceable. So the Indiana Jones set is great because it's unique, but the concept isn't that, irreplaceable, and there's plenty of great LEGO Star Wars sets apart from these two. But what ones would I recommend you to get right now? Well, I'd recommend everything except for the TIE Striker, but I'll tell you what you should do. So with the Land Rover Defender, if you still have access to it, because I feel like it's retired last year, but if it hasn't, and if it's still available, I highly recommend buying this set now, because if it's not disappeared by now, it's going to, and it will shoot up in price because it's a great LEGO set. Also, the Speed Champions Dodge Charger is a great set as well, and it is actually okay at 33 Australian dollars or 20 US dollars because it is like 20% larger than the other LEGO sets, Speed Champion sets. But again, since I can find it so easily at 20% off, I would make sure that you get it at discount as well. With the Indiana Jones set at 45 Australian dollars or 30 US dollars, it's an acceptable price. But again, I would look for it on sale. And with the TIE Bomber, it is quite a bit overpriced. Now, it's not really super overpriced or what you generally call overpriced, but it's expensive for what it is. And in my market, I've seen it currently at the time of recording for 80 Australian dollars instead of 100. That's 20% off. I would highly recommend you get this set for at least 20% off or more, simply because it's just passable as a 100 Australian dollar or 70 US dollar set, but it's a far better value and a far better proposition if you get it on a budget. And apart from that, that is it. Let me know what your favorite LEGO sets in 2023 that you've purchased are. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button. If you want to see more content just like this, please subscribe. I hope you guys have a truly awesome end of the year and keep building.